Okay, recording this video. It is Sunday, 31st of May 2015. I hope you're having a great weekend. So, this video I want to talk about a critical support level that we're sitting at. It's one of these ledges, 2102 or 2100, around there. We keep on coming up to these kind of ledges, and I've done a series of videos on them in the last month and a half or so, and we're back to another kind of really important number. So I just want to talk you through what I'm seeing on my charts. But before getting into that, just to say, not been anything much on the website for quite a few days, and I think everybody's assuming that's because I'm having computer problems. Pretty much put the computer problems to bed. Quite happy with the way things kind of have turned out in the end. I really appreciate all of the helpful comments that people sent about how they set up their TradeStation on a Mac computer. And so I'm kind of getting a lot more used to the charts and the formatting kind of those. You'll notice that the resolution of this video is slightly different as well, so I'm just playing with different kind of screen aspect ratios to see if things can kind of be improved in terms of kind of look and feel. But the main reason I've not been putting anything up on the website is we have just had fantastic surf over the last 10 days here in Sydney. The weather has been fantastic, magical. We've had a nice kind of pulse of swell kind of come through, and literally for the last 7 days it's just been kind of non-stop. Been in the water for like 2 or 3 hours every day. The water's clear. Saw seals the other day in the water, which is just extraordinary. If you know where Manly Beach is, we're right by a major city, right on the edge of Sydney, and we've got seals in the water and little kind of bait fish kind of running around. It's just beautiful. Anyway, so I've been doing that instead of putting out videos on the website, so I hope you all understand. Anyway, so let's talk about this important support level. I'll just show you quickly here on the higher time frame tip bar charts that I'm using. The 4,500, 13,500 and 40,500. So these are the highest level tip bar charts that I use. You can see on Friday's closing activity we've had support print on all three time frames. This level is kind of around 2102 on here. We kind of bounced off this level 4 times on Friday's activity, so you can see the sell-off on this 13,000 chart here. 1, 2, 3, 4, all within basically a point of each other, kind of down here in the 2102, 2103 level. So this is absolutely critical. Now, at support levels like this, particularly with blue professional bars kind of come in, we've got a gathering kind of happening here, and we're waiting for some big activity. A big trend move kind of comes out of either support levels all holding and all kind of working together, or all being broken at the same time into kind of big moves. So I'm expecting Monday, and we've got quite a lot of data coming out on Monday, kind of pre-open and during the first 30 minutes of the day. There's what do you got? Personal income, PMI manufacturing, ISM manufacturing, construction spending, all kind of coming out. And then we had a really pretty bad GDP print on Friday, and the corporate earnings number was really bad. So there's a lot of reasons why people might be kind of exiting the market, and this level being broken on Monday, kind of first thing, is, or Sunday into Monday, and seeing what the Asian markets and the European markets kind of do. It's going to be absolutely critical. So 2102 being the number that I'll be looking at kind of when the markets open on Sunday. So let's just recap a little bit, because I'll link to the 3 or 4 posts that have been put up on the website in the last month and a half, all to do with support and resistance levels being broken, because they've worked out, but just for like a day or a day and a half. They've been really kind of fairly muted moves. First one that we had was back here 24th of March, where we had a false breakout of this blue professional bar. This was an FOMC day, and we came up through the highs of this. It was a false breakout, so then I was saying the next place that you'd look is for the low of that big blue spiky bar to be broken, and that was, I think it was the Sunday evening I put out that video, and then first thing Monday morning we had a really nice kind of sell-off, and we got caught by support on the 135-minute chart here. Blue professional bars kind of come in, and that was the end of the move. We tested this low, we had an exhaustion pattern here, and we had a little bit of a rally for several days kind of after that. So that was one of these kind of important levels where we had a false breakout and we kind of break down, but we got caught by support. The next one that we had was in 29th of April here. and this was a support level on the 135-minute chart. Now in the background here we have weakness because of a Rambo pattern kind of going on, so the market can't push through. It's being led by the amateurs, really weak stuff. We get a big blue professional down bar, kind of comes in, and we go through the lows of that, and we're sitting at a cyclical support on 135-minute chart. At that point I was saying that is looking like it could easily break into a trending move on the way down. It could be a strong one because this middle time frame would take us in a pullback end of trend on the 135-minute chart. And yeah, we did get a nice kind of break, but it got caught the next day. Big blue professional bar, reversal bar, and that's as far as it went. We came back up above support. Again, it was really weak. Amateur up bars here, and we came back again to test the support. And then I said that again, because we're coming through support, we're potentially going to break into a downtrend on this 135-minute chart. And again, the next morning we had a really strong move down, blue professional down bar, exhaustion sell, but that was it. You know, we just had these 2 little days where we got really nice trending down moves day. They were excellent days for trading intraday, but the move just, that's as far as it went. Spiky blue professional bars on the big volume days like that, or big volume, you know, kind of a couple of hours like that. You know, the professionals have come in, picked up all that exhaustion volume, and that's as far as it goes, and we kind of go to new highs. So now we're sitting again very close to this cyclical support on the 135-minute chart. So the breaks that we had these time around were just spiky bars, and they just never went anywhere. They never went into kind of trending moves on the way down because the professionals caught them with exhaustion sell, and we bounced from there. So now what we're sitting at is more Rambo patterns, more really weak buying into those highs above 2100, 2120, 2130 up here. Again, showing the weakness of the activity up here. The average trade size was super low. This was all kind of amateur stuff happening at these highs, really weak buying, kind of no demand type stuff at these highs. And we've had this initial shock of a blue professional down bar selling down. Bit of a U-turn here, where they pick it up at these lows. The support level holds on 135-minute chart, another blue professional up bar, but we've not been able to break through there. So that was kind of Wednesday's, Thursday's activity this week. We couldn't go through the highs of this really weak activity, and we've kind of sold down. So on Friday we had 2 kind of sell down bars. You know, one kind of big blue professional bar was nice trading when that finally rolled over. After about 35 minutes or so of trade, this kind of was doing nothing for the first 30 minutes, and then all of a sudden it just let loose and fell into a really nice downtrend. And now we've had a blue professional bar kind of spiking down. So we've got this real congestion of blue professional bars kind of going on here, and the question is how we're going to break out of this. My initial thought is that we should break the supports into a proper trending move on the way down. You can see it's really neutral in terms of buying and selling, but momentum is showing kind of a really close reading to the 0 line. We got this weakness in the background where we just cannot kind of push through. It's just showing a lack of demand kind of going on here. We're consolidated in these blue professional bars. It's kind of wedging down, and we're sitting on the support just kind of waiting for it to go. But having said that, these other breaks, they went a little bit. We got a little bit of travel on them, but they never kind of went any further than that. Who knows if there are kind of bigger forces at work where you got kind of intervention by central banks kind of stopping any kind of moves down. This has kind of been the story for just so long, that we've just had no appetite on the downside, and so calling any kind of big move on the downside has just been a waste of time, because it just tends to travel for a day and that's it, and just bounces straight back. So who knows what's going to happen on Monday, but I do know that something big is going to work out of this, because we got consolidation. We're at the 0 line with better momentum. There's a lot of kind of pent up energy. We've got this consolidation zone with blue professional bars, and we're sitting at this really critical support. So it'll either hold and we'll bounce, and it'll be a strong day, Monday and Tuesday, kind of a 2-day type rally, or we're going to break it, and we'll certainly have 1 day of really serious weakness, and then we'll kind of see where it goes from there. So it could be a similar pattern to these other type of breaks here and bounce back, or it could generate into something bigger. We'll have to kind of wait and see. If you look at this on the other time frames, on the daily chart, here you can see we've got this resistance in the background, and we've got a little bit of time to run before we get across on better momentum. So we're still in a downtrend, resistance to support. This has got a print at some point, but that's not kind of come in yet. And you can see, previously when we've come with Rambo patterns, into these highs. Takes a little bit of time. We get Rambo, waits a little bit, and then we get sell-offs. Rambo patterns a little bit higher, Amida up bars, and then sell-off, Rambo, sell-off, Rambo, eventually a sell-off after a little bit of a delay. And in this last pattern we had Rambo, some Amida bars, a little bit similar to maybe this or this, and then a big blue professional down bar on Friday. And let's see if we get continuation of this on the downside, because we've got some time to run here on the daily chart. Then if you back it down to the 45-minute chart, I actually think this end of trend printed at the wrong place. I think rather than printing at the beginning of the day, it should have printed at this point here. But it's a pullback to end of trend kind of support area, kind of come in here. And the question is that enough to hold it? We've had exhaustion sell on here, a bullish divergence right on the zero line, so I wait for something bigger like a flush pattern, and we're in the process of making that kind of flush pattern, flush or exhaustion pattern here, a bigger kind of sell down. And if we get a continuation of that on Monday, it could just take us through that 2100 level, and then it kind of looks kind of weak. In the background we've also got some reasons why the market is weak at the moment. With bonds, we're overbought in equities in terms of bonds. This is this oscillator that compares, this is the ETF for the equities market versus the bond market, long-term bonds here, and we get areas of overbought and oversold. So we kind of get caught with oversold, we eventually roll over from overbought. We've had this period here where the bonds were selling off and the equities are making new highs, so we're overbought in terms of equities and kind of coming down there. Yen, we look at the Japanese yen because of the carry trade, and if the yen starts to strengthen, then people tend to dump kind of equities positions around the world. And so again, the same thing, overbought, oversold, and it's not got into overbought yet on this oscillator, but we're really close. We're a day or two away from doing that. So the yen's kind of weakening at the moment, and the equities is kind of a little bit overbought. So overbought, oversold, overbought, oversold, and so on. So looking at those kind of metrics, we've got some reasons why we might have a little bit of a sell-off, and we also have this kind of weak GDP, weak earnings number from corporates, and maybe people could kind of just jump out of equities for a while. But anyway, all I know is 2102, 2100, absolutely critical. So watch for that over the next few days. Now, just a quick recap to finish this video off. Last video I talked about the British pound, and I was saying I think the pound was going to continue to strengthen until we had weekly resistance on cyclical resistance coming on the weekly British pound chart. Of course, as soon as I put out that video, and I think it was kind of around here, we've had nothing but weakness in the pound ever since. And the dollar index has kind of cracked higher, and all the other forex contracts have kind of gone down. So I felt like a little bit of an idiot talking about continued strength in the pound and the other currencies and weakness in the US dollar, and the exact reverse happened. But I still think we're going to test back up. We're at an interesting situation here when you look at the two time frames chart. We've got cyclical resistance due on the weekly chart. So this is an important high kind of up here at 58. So that level is absolutely kind of critical. But in the meantime, we've got some cyclical support energy to work out on the daily chart. So this is coming down. This will play in at some point, and we'll get some cyclical strength kind of going on. So we're caught between strength on the daily chart and weakness on the weekly chart, which means that strength on the daily chart needs to play itself out. So when that runs support to resistance, then the timing is more likely to be right for kind of the end in this move in the pound. So we'll wait and see, kind of see how it kind of goes. The Aussie dollar is kind of particularly weak, kind of coming down again, as is the euro, but I still think the timing is not right for that move. I think we're going to have another test back up with the British pound, even though that we've had this kind of weakness so far. So yeah, that's kind of the way I look at my charts. When you see this where we've got opposite patterns on the one time frame and the time frame the next one up, what needs to happen is this needs to work its cyclical energy out so that both time frames are starting to work together, and when they start matching up and start working together, that's when you get kind of strong moves. And that's why this is a really critical level because we've got supports happening on all three time frames. This is a triple, so it's going to be a strong move from here. Either the support holds and we go for a really strong rally for 2 or 3 days, or it cracks and we start to see some weakness, and then it's a question of, well, how far does it go? Anyway, so I've whittled on a little bit too much. I hope you're enjoying your weekend. Looking forward to Monday's trade.